Good morning, everybody. We're fixing to start in just a minute. So if you can see my PowerPoint, let me know. Well, if you can see my notes, let me know. For some reason, I'm having a little technical trouble this morning. Y'all let me know in the chat box. Do you see my notes? Good. You can see my slides, but not my notes. Okay. Well, if everybody would sort of introduce themselves, just a few words in the chat box, I would appreciate it. So I know who all's here and um, what we're uh, different groups might be looking for. This is real informal. The LACAN membership meetings and then the trainings for families helping families. I'm going to do the training part for families helping families first. Families Helping Families is a grassroots advocacy organization. If you care about the issues that we discuss in the state for people with developmental disabilities and people receiving special education services, oh, there I am. You can sign up at lacanadvocates.org or you can reach out to me directly. My information is going to be at the end of this presentation. Once you have joined LACAN, you'll have many opportunities to get involved in advocacy. You decide how much you can do and how much you can help. Some people help a lot, and some people are only able to make calls or emails, and that's good. We all do the bit that we can. So let's look at those advocacy opportunities. And y'all chat me up if y'all need to ask questions while I'm going along, because I will stop and answer questions as I need to. So this is the pictures. I hate pictures of all of the LACAN leaders across the state. LACAN stands for the Louisiana Council's Advocacy Network. So we actually work at the pleasure of the Louisiana Developmental Disabilities Council. We're like their advocacy arm. And our mission is to advocate for policies and systems that support inclusion everywhere people live, work, learn, play. We are Region 5, right smack dab in the middle. There are actually 10 regions. The First Lady, Christina, covers Region 1 and 10 because they're like glued to each other. They're so close to each other. So what are some of the things we do? We do legislative roundtables. Ours will be coming up again here in February, March, right before the legislative session. We have information and action alerts. When you sign up, that's really the very first thing that you're agreeing to do is to get the emails. You're going to learn a lot in those action alerts because not only do we have a issue that might be important to you that you might want to say something about, but then we sort of have the backstory to it, so you'll learn a lot. We do individual visits with our legislators in the region. There's 8 of them that I set up meetings with, and they always love talking to their constituents. And then yellow shirt days. So some days, some of the people that go to that I'll help you learn to tell your story. I'll help you make it impactful. Some of those people testify in Baton Rouge, but sometimes they're just having a committee meeting about something that's important to us. So we wear these bright yellow shirts. I'm waiting for a new supply with a little bit of a color change. We've kind of rebranded. And Uh, we wear them to the committee meetings. Uh, there's nothing like seeing 50 yellow shirts in the audience. The legislators know us. But let's go on. So, some of those activities that I was talking about, I am fixing to have on the 28th, and then one day in August. I am fixing the 28th of July, and then another day in August. And the information should go out uh, probably in the next few days. What we call community action meetings or community input meetings. And the point to those is for people that are actually using the services, moms and dads, people with disabilities. I have grandparents that are raising grandchildren, siblings. But anyway, for them to give input into the Louisiana Developmental Disability Council's next legislative agenda. We have an agenda, 2 or 3 things every year. So because you're here, and I can tell you right now, I'd appreciate it if you attend 1 or 2 of the meetings and you give your input on what does or doesn't work. And I'm looking for solutions, of course. Sometimes you know things don't work and you don't know what the fix might be, but I'm looking for fixes that we can bring to the legislature. So, of course, it has to be things that are statewide that we can bring to the legislatures. And these are just suggestions for the next year. It's actually an ad hoc committee of the Louisiana Developmental Disabilities Council that's going to draft the agenda, and then the council itself votes on the agenda. Am I getting any questions, China? No, I do not have an agenda. This is really informal. I can send you a copy of my PowerPoint, though, if that will help you. Uh, but no, not that formal. Not with these meetings. With other meetings, I am. Like when you come to the round table, it's a whole lot more formal than this. So the action alerts that I told you about, these are actually my favorite because year after year I've been doing, well, I've worked at Families Helping Families for 32, 33 years, and I've been working with this grassroots organization, LACAN, for 28 of those years. I was doing this before the LACAN leaders were paid. Um, So I've been doing this for a while, and year after year, this is the activity that I see that makes a difference. Is when those alerts going out, people let the policymakers know how proposed policy changes will affect them and their loved ones. It's the easiest way to get involved, and you don't have to leave your house. It's an email or it's a call. Um, so you're rolling this, read the alerts, contact me if you need more information, if you need me to talk it through with you, if you need me to give you ideas. Um, then you take a few minutes to call or email your policymaker, um, and you can share your story in that email. Um, your story might not be a story that you want to talk about on a legislative visit or at a committee meeting, but it's still something that you can tell a little bit of when you do these alerts. And then another great way to get involved is the legislative visits. So those happen year around, but we primarily do them November through March. My ultimate goal is to connect you to your policymaker. They've heard, seen me for years, and they want to talk to their constituents, right? So if you can accompany me, or if you attend some of the trainings and you can go on a visit, I can give you fact sheets with your legislator yourself, and sometimes Bessie members, because like I said, we work with special education issues as well. That's kind of the year-round part, even when the legislature is at meeting. Those visits, I may be able to set them up virtually, but we like in-person meetings. In-person meetings are, well, the relationship is, you form a different relationship in those in those in-person meetings. Again, you're going to share your story. By the time you get to the point that you're interested in wanting to do this, we've probably started to write down an outline or something. Um, it needs to relate to the advocacy issues that we will be working on at that point. And, you know, you can go ahead and sign up to do that right away as well. I mean, you can tell me in the chat box or contact me later. Um, let's see, next one. Yellow Shirt Days. Another opportunity to get involved is participating in the Yellow Shirt Days. Yellow Shirt Days, like I said, because we do educate special education issues, they happen year round. Oh, cool. It looks like China dropped the link for you to be able to um, open another screen and register if you want to. But the purpose of those Yellow Shirt Days is to really make an impression on the policymakers, to make sure that they remember that what the decisions they're making are affecting people with disabilities, people in their area, people across the state, and maybe in support or maybe not in support of a particular issue being discussed. So what do I need you to do? I need you to attend the Yellow Shirt Day. Please wear the yellow shirt or something yellow. There will be cards there. You can, you have to fill out a card and I'll help you, or one of the other leaders will help you. And depending on if you're in support or opposition, depends on the color of the card. So the cards that are in support are green, and the cards that are in opposition are red, and you have to sign the card because they're real picky about signing the card. And then a lot of times we can catch the legislator for a few minutes that might be on that committee, whether he's yours or you're from your area, and talk to him out for a minute in the hall. That's why it's a good idea to have at least outlined, if not written out, your story because, well, if you're like me, you forget what you're going to say. Uh, though we shouldn't be nervous, they're people just like us. But it helps you keep on task, right? About how this is affecting you or your loved one. And again, y'all let me know if y'all are interested in these things, either chatting or contact me later. Now, if you can't go, you can still do things at home. You can watch committee meetings live. We gave you the link there. You can even go, you can go to the Louisiana Legislature website as well and find the committee and click in to view it. Sometimes some of our members host watch parties on social media. They do. Like I'm watching and show themselves watching the committee meeting. And you can tag your friends and your policymakers. Lots of them have Facebook. A few of them have Twitter. We have some hashtags. If you would care to use them, we would appreciate it. But you can email, tweet, message. Some people have their legislators cell phone numbers, and message your legislator if your legislator is on that committee. Or sometimes we have yellow shirt days for like the House floor or the Senate floor. So then everybody is in play. But and you're doing the same thing. You're talking about how an issue will affect you or your loved one. Uh, you can email in support of opposition of the issue to the committee. uh, the committee will be on the committee agenda, and again, that's going to be on the Louisiana legislature website, the committee's specific email. And they tell us that they count those as well. They don't read them, but they count those as well when they're looking at a particular issue. Then the last way to get involved is by providing public testimony. So I'm saying, things like those legislative visits, those round tables. We have a presentation of the issues, and then we usually have a speaker because there's a round table in every area. So we have a speaker from that area, and committee meetings. But public testimony can actually happen year round. You might bump into your legislator in the elevator and be able to thank them for something that they did this year that made a difference, or is in the process of making a difference for you or your loved one. And you have it ready that this is what um affected us. This is what y'all worked on. We appreciate your help. But even during the pre-session and legislative session, you, like I said, you can bump into them anywhere. Resource fairs, county fairs, uh, elevators. um, but again, I will help you write out testimony, write out impactful testimony, to let those policymakers know the decisions they make are affecting real people. Uh, to be able to testify at a committee where usually legislators only like to hear from two, three, four of us, and we will have talked to those people and even alternates. But sometimes for traffic was the main reason. But for whatever reason, sometimes even the people that have been picked and the alternates can't get there. And if you're there, you might be up. But to be up, you have to be at the yellow shirt day. You're going to get an action alert about it. Again, you're going to complete one of those cards in support or opposition, and maybe testify, or maybe just um, get your legislator to come out into the hallway, similar to what we were talking about for yellow shirt days. So again, at home, you can watch it. You can email and tweet about and share your story um, in writing, or even record a brief video. That's what some of the members have been doing across the state, is recording something. Send me a copy if you do it. I might be able to figure out ways for us to use it. But they've been putting it on their Facebook pages or their Twitter page. Um, Email it. When you email about the committee agenda, email it to the entire committee. There's a lot of different ways that you can use your story or your video of your story if you do it. So this is like just touching. When I do these small trainings like this, is just to touch on advocacy, grassroots advocacy. There's more information about how to advocate and what to expect and other tips and tools on the Council's Advocacy 101 web page. And I put the link on here. When you get the copy of this, it's going to be a hot link. So you'll be able to click on it. And then what my information. I am the LACAN leader but I actually work at the Families Helping Family Centers, or our center in Southwest Louisiana. You can call me. Some of the leaders across the state work at their Families Helping Family Centers, and some of them don't. So, there's contact information on that LACAN page, so you can contact them no matter which place they're at. And you have our email too. So, do you have any questions about this piece of what I want to talk about? This is the training part. No? Okay. I have, don't leave. We have a evaluation, and I want to stop sharing and talk about, ooh, there I am. Let's see, go back to share, go to the documents. Let's see if I can share them. So, one of the emails, the types of emails that you will get will look just like this. It's called the LADDC News. Ooh, and I'm sorry, it looks like, um, maybe the weather's getting bad, but it looks like it's saying that my, um, video or my connection is unstable. Let me take off the video, my video part, and, then we can hopefully keep it together a little bit better. So, one of the emails that you're going to get at being part of the LACAN is what's called the LADDC News, the Louisiana Developmental Disability Council News. And they did a summary of what they call the legislative session impacts. This past legislative session, we had three big goals. So just in case you weren't around, or just in case you don't remember, one of them was protecting services for people with disabilities. Initially, at the pre-session stuff, um, there was a big deficit. And even with the election, with voting on the things that they wanted us to vote on, there was still supposed to be a big deficit. So we're working on that, and then getting money back for Families Helping Family Centers. Every year, we do get some money from the state, but every year there's about $500,000 shared by 10 centers. So don't get excited. But there's $500,000 that we keep having to go to the legislature about. We've talked to them several times about making this recurring, so we don't have to have this discussion for, I think it's 4 or 5 years now. But yeah, we keep having the discussion. And that was one of our legislative agenda items, was to restore that $500,000. And then as the session started and went on, we added making policies better for how schools handle seclusion and restraint. And we reached all three of those goals. So no disability services were cut in the state, as evidenced by House Bill 1. Oops, I went too far, right? It's not going to let me do it. Slide down a little bit at a time. The $500,000 was added back to the council's budget from the state. Half the money was added by the House, and the other half of the money, thankfully, was added by the Senate. So they're both our heroes in this, for this agenda item. Both sides of the legislature. And then the council and LACAN helped with HB 684 to make sure that inclusion and restraint was say was strengthened. There was already a law, but it strengthened that law and it made that law safer, if that makes sense, and that it was only going to be used when needed. So, as you may know, cameras can be requested if your child in the school systems, if your child is in a self-contained class, and but the parents had to request it. And sometimes that process of requesting it has been really hairy, depending on where you live. And the school systems have already gotten the money that was allocated for cameras and putting in a system that had visual and audio. And the law already talked about how uh, the other student's information could be redacted. So uh, if there was a reason, it's not like you can look at the cameras willy-nilly. You had to have a reason to look at the cameras, make an appointment to look at the camera footage, but still protecting the other student's identity. So now parents don't have to ask, which is a blessing. Now, if your child is in a self-contained classroom, they are supposed to automatically put cameras in there. So if there's any kind of incident, um, you can, as part of the IEP team, see the camera footage. And I mean, it's good for students and it's good for teachers. I know teachers who have testified that they were happy that there were going to be cameras because students had basically said that they did things that they didn't do, and there was outside evidence. And it's going to make some parents feel more comfortable about their child's school day. Um, Children self-contained, not resource room, self-contained. Um, so the seclusion part is that it clearly explains what seclusion means and what physical restraint means and when they can be used. And that the teachers that have a student that may need that kind of intervention are trained. Now before the school systems had to have someone trained, now the teachers of that student have to be trained in crisis intervention as part of becoming a teacher. And only trained staff can use physical restraint unless there's a serious emergency. Then in addition, if a child is restrained, they must be followed by health staff people on that same day. So somebody has to check them and check with them that very same day. That wasn't in the law before. Um, just for everybody's safety, right? And then let's see. Parents must be told during the IEP meetings that they can say no to seclusion and restraint for their child. Just my aside, you need to put it in writing, of course, but you can say no during the IEP meetings. If there's a video of a seclusion or restraint, if it happened in the self-contained classroom, it'll be watched to make sure the rules were followed. If your child was secluded or restrained, they're supposed to tell you the same day. Now, that wasn't that as clear before. If they're secluded or restrained more than 2 times in a year, their behavior plan has to be updated. The law used to say 5 times. If they're held for more than 3 minutes in 1 hour, it is a physical restraint. The schools have to have clear rules about reporting when seclusion or restraint happens in all of their policies. And the schools have to share those rules every year with the special education advisory councils. There's supposed to be one at each parish now, and give copies to their parents. So we wanted to thank Representative Shane Mack, and we had 25 co-authors for helping us create this new law, and then plenty of advocates who wrote legislators, uh, testified, came to Yellow Shirt Days. We had partners in this as well, so don't let me forget thanking them. The Arc of Louisiana, Disability Rights Louisiana, that's our nonprofit law firm. Every state has one of those. The Louisiana Association of Public Charter Schools. The Louisiana Department of Education was behind this as well and helping. The Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, Bessie, that's the board that governs special education in the state. And, well, we took a picture of us, one of the meetings we attended. So, there's other issues that we worked on or kept track of, probably is a better way to explain it. During the Let me get rid of this and get back to where I can see y'all, or y'all can see me, one of the two. There's other issues that the Louisiana Developmental Disability Council, there's usually a list of them, that you can go to their website. Like I said, once you get this, you'll have hot links, uh, and you can review the issues and what the council's position was on it and the disposition. The council does that chart every year. Of course, it's different every year, but it's usually when you go to the Deed Council's website, it's usually in the ribbon. So it's one of the things that you can click on in that. They call it a ribbon, I believe, the part that keeps changing different things about different things going on. So you can keep up with what we're working on. But remember my community input meetings, because uh, it's hard to think of things, or it appears to be hard to think of things that on a state level legislators can do to be able to make the system fairer and to make the system work better. And, you know, I'm going to want to know, do is this one of your priorities as a group, not individuals? As a matter of fact, I'll keep track as a group. Is this one of that particular little group's priorities? And are any of y'all willing to testify if it comes to it? And I will keep track. Some years we have people that recommend something, but then nobody wants to testify. Whole nother discussion. So, how far am I into? I want to make sure I don't talk forever, because I will talk forever. No, I didn't. Good, good. You know, these are meant to be under an hour for both parts, the training part and the I call it the wrap up part, the LACAN part. So I don't see any questions. Do y'all have any questions about these things, the issues I went over, or the activities? Because You got my undivided attention. Chana, do you have the link for the evaluation? Are
Yes,
you still?
ma'am. I can post it now if you want.
Drop that link. Y'all, please take my evaluation. There's a place on the evaluation for you to type stuff in. So, like, if you know something else that you want to have a webinar related to this or not related to this, you can type it in there. And our planning, we have a yearly planning meeting, and then we have, like, last year at least, we had a mid-year refresher about what we're going to discuss, webinars that we're going to have, or what kind of information we need to have available. Uh, so y'all write it on those evaluations because we take them seriously. It's how we show our funders that the money that they are giving us goes to something real that helps people. And I don't know what else is in the chat. I have experience
I was just about to say
reviewing
you had one in the chat.
policies and being as noisy as necessary. Yes, ma'am. That's wonderful. Um, just the kind of people that I need to keep track of is people that are willing to look at things and willing to talk about things. Uh, Wonderful. This past year, we had the Governor's Office of Disability Affairs hosted a um, Disability Awareness Day. So lots of the partners that I talked about before, and lots of people with disabilities went to the Capitol that day and um, hunted for their legislator, and or had made appointments to talk to their legislators. Uh, it was really, we used to do that in a big way. LACAN itself used to do that in a big way years ago. We had to get charter buses back then, but um, now we share, and they share with us. So maybe we'll do that again this year. I think the governor's office on disability affairs had a good experience with it, and they'd be willing to help organize it again. I'm hoping. Okay, well, I'm gonna hang out here for a few minutes. China, can you stop the recording?
Yes, ma'am.
And unless anybody drops a question in the chat, we are done. Thank y'all so much. Uh, I'm going to mute myself, but like I said, I'm still here. Drop something in the chat. I'll stay.